If you're looking to build Anti-Venom on a budget, I have just the cards for you. Hello everybody and welcome back into the fort. My name is Tyler Saves You Bucks and we are doing a Pillow 14. That's 14 cards for under $14 to get you started on a deck for Anti-Venom Horrifying Healer. This is coming out with the Spider-Man set, so let's jump right into it and I'll explain what this list is built around. This is 5 white mana for a 5/5. When it enters, if you cast it, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. But what this deck is more so centered around is this. If damage would be dealt to Anti-Venom, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on him. Very interesting concept when it comes to this. It prevents that damage, it grows it even more. So let's buff that effect up more and more with this list. Like I said, 14 cards for under $14. We're going to take a look at Nomad's Encore first, which is 1 white for a 1/1. It has a 0 mana effect. The next 1 damage that would be dealt to this creature this turn is dealt to target creature you control instead. So what this kind of does is the fact that if you happen to attack with your commander and it's tapped, when you go to blocks later on somebody else's turn, you can block a big creature with this small creature and send a bunch of that damage over to your commander, growing it kind of out of nowhere. It's a darned if you do, darned if you don't type of effect in the deck. Pariah's Shield. This is a 5 mana equipment for equipped 3, and then all damage that we dealt to you is dealt to equipped creature instead. This just kind of shuts down anybody from wanting to attack you. And yeah, this is kind of what this deck is centered around, is making it harder for people to combat you while you reap any benefits that might come your way. Pariah's Shield. Obviously, they're going to work together in this way. 3 mana. Aura. All damage will be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. This is probably one of the most important cards in the deck, just to throw it on your commander and shut down so many things that people can do to you. And yeah, definitely pick up a Pariah if you're building this deck. Also, Phyrexian Vindicator, which is 4 white mana for a 5/5 Phyrexian horror with flying. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to any target. So this is kind of in the same vein as your commander. I mean, it definitely has a similar casting cost, but at the same time, why it's good in this deck is because, say you lose your commander somehow, this is a way to put Pariah and Pariah's Shield and other things onto the Vindicator, because a lot of that will work in the same way. It's just, it's not necessarily, I would call, you know, a replacement for your commander. It just does and benefits off of the things that this deck will want to do. Little tricky things that we can do in the deck as well. Kabira Takedown, which is an MDFC, has a land on the other side, but it says it deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. So in this deck, in most other decks, this is removal for somebody else's thing. But this can also be shot right at your commander and deal a bunch of damage to it and then grow with a whole bunch of counters out of nowhere. And that's very similar to Razorgrass Ambush. 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Also a land on the other side that can be played untapped if you pay 3 life. But again, this can be used against somebody else's thing or your commander to buff it up out of nowhere. Thraben Charm has a similar thing. It deals damage equal to twice the number of creatures you control to target creature, but also destroy an enchantment or exile any number of target players' graveyards, just giving you that flexibility while also being a little tricky and very cheap in that 30-cent range there. When it comes to the counters that it's growing with, there's a few things that will help build up counters or do things based off of the counters that your commander makes. Ring of Thune, which, by the way, I was just looking into this recently. This came out in M13, which is the core set that that came out when I started playing. So I was like looking at this card being like, I remember everybody played Ring of Thune. It's because that's what people were playing when I started. If the equipped creature is white, it gets a +1 counter on your upkeep, but also it has vigilance. So that's so strong when it comes to putting it on your commander because of the fact that you can attack, make people block, or just deal damage to somebody else because they don't want to grow your commander with counters. And then it holds back as a blocker, and your commander is one of the best blockers going right now out of this set. Scholar of New Horizons, I did an entire short on this. It's in my favorite deck, which is Shadrach Silverquill. I'll link to that here. But you can remove a counter from a permanent and search your library for a plains. Either you put it into your hand or put it on the battlefield if someone has more lands than you. You might have 10 counters on your commander and you realize, hey, you know, I don't need all these. I can get rid of one of them, and then this can help ramp you a little bit and also come down early and help ramp into getting your commander out fast. Abzan Falconer, it gives creatures with +1 counters on them flying that you control. And again, that helps your commander be a great blocker, helps your commander be a great attacker as well. And I'm sure if you would build out a full 99 for this commander, there would be other creatures that have counters on them as well. Resourceful Defense. This is a 3-mana enchantment. This is very pivotal for this deck if you are going to be building a lot of counters as the game goes on. Whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control, and then 5 mana you can move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent. So that's a way, if your commander gets dealt with, you put a bunch of those counters on really anything, and then you can move them back for 5 mana. But also, it's the fact that you can move those counters at instant speed. I'm going to just double check that. Move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control. So yeah, your commander died, you put 12 counters on something else, and then you attack the next turn with a creature, and they don't block, and you say, oh, boom, throw all those counters on the Falconer or something like that. It's an interesting way to, number one, keep your deck more resilient, but also be a little tricky. Haunted Cloak. This is such a budget-friendly card, and it is also just such a big slam dunk in the deck. 3 mana and then 1 to equip. Equipped creature has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. You're going to have a big creature. That Trample helps. You want to get it on the field and attack right away. The Haste helps, but also the Vigilance, like I said, is so strong and so useful in this deck. You probably already own this card, so just look through your bulk. Inquisitor's Flail. This is another kind of tricky thing. 2 mana to cast, 2 mana to equip. If damage would be combat damage would be dealt by the creature that this is equipped to, deals double damage instead. And then if another creature would deal combat damage to equipped creature, it deals double that damage to equipped creature instead. So you double the output that your commander is giving. And also, if somebody happens to attack you with a 3/3, you're like, okay, I'll block, and now it's gaining 6 counters instead. Again, just a very cool effect that doesn't fit in a lot of decks, but fits so well here. Duelist Heritage. I am such a fan of this card. It's very political, and in this build, it's also very funny. 3 mana enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. You can give your commander that double strike for sure, punch through a lot of damage, but you could also, if somebody attacks you and you can block it with your commander, that 3/3, let's just say, as we did before, you say, all right, I'm giving that 3/3 double strike, and now it's dealing 6 instead. Like, the little tricky things you can do that people aren't ready for, that's what this commander is going to be all about, and that's why I think it's being built so much out of this set. So now I want to hear from you. What cards would you put in an Anti-Venom deck? Let me know in the comments below, because if anybody comes to this video and they're building this deck, they can go to the comments and see a lot of good suggestions. It takes more than one person to build a pillow fort and more than one person to build a commander deck sometimes. And I hope to see all of you back here in the Pillow Fort. I'm doing a lot more content around Spider-Man, as well as MagicCon Atlanta content when that event is going on, because I will be there. So be sure to follow all of my stuff. subscribe here, like the video, comment, do all those things. It's a huge, huge help, and I hope I helped you right here in the fort. See you guys next time.